Alright, let's waste no time. I know what you guys want to see. We've seen the thumbnail. Let's stick this thing in a bucket of water. G'day, Stu from UAVfutures here, and today we're going to be checking out, this is a little octopus drone from my dear fly, finally a name I can pronounce, but what makes this one special or a little bit interesting, why I want to show you guys, because it recommends that this thing is waterproof. So we're going to be putting it to the test. We'll be dunking it in some water, giving it the soak, and then finding out still, will this drone fly? Can we still do some FPV action? And if so, is it going to be any good when we're going to take it out, rip it around, especially if it's like raining or something like that? Because understand, it's coming into summer here in Australia, but it's going to be getting very wet in the northern hemisphere where most of my viewers are. So what we should do, let's stick it on the bench. We'll have a very quick squiz at its components and then take it out, put it in the field, tip it under some water and see just how well it goes. Alright, let's do it. Alrighty, so here it is on the bench, the little octopus drone, aptly named because we are going to be drenching this thing in a minute, but let's go through some of the quick overviews. And straight off the bat, look, I don't have too many high hopes for this thing. The one part I like about it is that it's waterproof, so that's why I wanted to show you guys. We'll test it out because it'd be cool if this feature could come to a lot of our other drones, but you know, just off the bat, I can already tell some things that I don't like. So you get a few things. You get a spare set of props in the package. You also get, almost pulled the wrong lead there. You get this little 2S battery, so a 400 milliamp hour battery there. I'm going to put that bad boy to the side. Take your bets. Let's stick it on the scales quickly. Find out how much does this thing weigh. Coming in at 65 grams, so I guess sort of light, and 88 grams there with the LiPo. Now, probably one part you can see, it's got these prop guards on the outside, but these things, I feel like they're going to break a lot more. They really don't feel very robust whatsoever. And I reckon 1 or 2 crashes, this bad boy, it's going to be all over. So I expect those guards to be snapping off very, very soon. And then speaking of snapping, look, this isn't carbon fiber. This is just a PCB board, so 1.5 millimeters thick, which makes it a very, very bendy. I reckon a few hits with this bad boy and it's going to absolutely, it's game over for this one. Anyway, let's persist and jump in and have a look at some of the components. So we're going to start at the outside in. You do get these 4-blade props. They're just 20-35 4-blades. So I'm going to take those off. One cool thing, it is brushless, which is important because, you know, that's going to give us a bit more power. Now underneath those props, look, I think we have some okay motors here. They feel alright, so that might be one of the sort of better parts of this build. They're 1104 motors. They're 8,000 kV, so, you know, we should 8,500 kV, I should say. So, you know, they should provide okay lift. It's only rocking a 2S, but look, it's not that heavy as well. And then in the middle, we're going to move in. We're going to open it up, but on the top, we've got our little all-in-one FPV camera with a little antenna sticking out the top. I think that's okay because I don't think that's going to be breaking anytime soon. I would like a little bit of hot glue or something like that over there. That would make it just that little bit more robust. Now what we should do, let's open it up, have a look at the insides, because like I mentioned, this thing, it's all about being waterproof. So you've just got 6 screws, so 2 at the front and 2 at the back, and then 1 on each side. So we're just going to undo those now, and then we can take the canopy off. Alrighty, so with that done, here's a bit more of a squeeze at the inside. So you can see this camera part, it's totally sealed in there, so we're not really going to have any access to that bad boy. Underneath, this part actually starts to look good. So we've got an ESC here, totally covered in liquid electrical tape, so there should be no shorting out, which is sort of what we need. And I've got to say, there's also this sort of strange rubbery coating over the whole bottom board as well. Now this ESC, look, it's a D-shot running BOHELI-S 12 amp ESC, which is probably going to be fine because we're only rocking 2S as well. There's no buzzer on here, which is a little bit of a shame. And then underneath, this is where we've got our PDB with a built-in receiver. So one good part, look, this binds straight up to your Tyrannus or FreeSky radio systems, and it's also rocking Betaflight on there. It's our flight controller, and it's rocking Betaflight, and it's an F3 flight controller. Now one part that I think is a little bit silly, look over here, you've got this is a USB connector. That looks like it's in a really awkward place. I don't know why they've put it there. It would have been much better on the side or something like that. It's going to be quite difficult, I reckon, to try to plug our little USB in there. So that part's a little bit of a shame. But overall, look, I think it's just sort of barely doing the job. I'm not the biggest fan of the components. They all look pretty no-name, and we'll talk about the quality as well in a minute, which to me looks a little bit shoddy. Now moving on to the design of the thing, look, I'm not really a fan of this one at the moment, the way it's on the bench. Maybe it will fly different, we'll have to see. But overall, I think the design choices, and especially how they've gone to use a non-carbon fiber board, it's just going to snap. It looks very, very fragile, and I wish they could have designed and put the USB in some little better places. So I think overall, I'm going to give it like a 4 out of 10 in terms of design, because I'm just not the biggest fan in its current state. I like that it's covered in liquid electrical tape, but you know, it's going to be great. I want waterproof drones. It'd be great if they were all like that. And you know, hopefully this is going to do that, but the other parts just let it down too much. Now in terms of quality, I'd probably give it about the same, so there just seem to be low level components in here. Not really a big fan. We'll have to see how it performs, but the soldering joints, like if you can see these, I'm going to flash a picture on the screen. They look really, really dodgy. I'm definitely a little bit skeptical about that, and I think it's just going to break way too easily. So yeah, I'm feeling like give this one a miss. Now moving on, because I know we all want to dunk it underwater. That's what I want to find out anyway, because it feels pretty weird for me to throw a drone underwater. Let's quickly talk about the pros and the cons. Pros, it binds up straight to your radio. You know, if you've got a Tyrannus radio. Pro, it might be waterproof. Well, that's what it's claiming anyway. And I guess it is pretty light. The cons, the components look fairly dodgy. It looks really breakable, and the quality of the build together, I just don't know if it's worth it, because it looks like it's not going to come together very nicely, and I'm a little bit worried about how this thing's going to hold up. Anyway, that's the drone on the bench, but that's the boring part. What we should do now, let's take it out, put it in the drink, and see, you know, is this one going to be waterproof, or are you just throwing your money down the drain? Or option number 3, you know, is it waterproof, flies around, but it's still not a good buy? All right, let's cut out and do some flying with it, or some hosing it down in 3, 2, 1. All right, a little bit of an update. We're going to plug this in now. Look, you do get some nice LEDs, which I forgot to mention before, but look what happens. It's all bound up to my Tyrannus, ready to rock and roll. Only 3 of the motors are working. I haven't dunked this in the water yet, so 1, 2, 3 are working fine. This one's broken. I'm going to see if I can fix it, but if not, with the magic of editing, I'm going to try and track down another one for you guys, because otherwise we can't really tell if it's going to fly when we dunk it in water until we get a new one. So let's cut back to when it's working. I don't know how long this is going to be, but thanks editing. In 3, 2, 1. Whoop! Rightio, so we've doubled, multiplied, a bit of time's gone past. That one doesn't work, so I had to end up getting this one right here. So let's plug this one in, and this way we can show you, look, it is actually working. There we go, all ready to rock and roll. About to hit arm. We're ready to rock and roll. So, sorry about the wait, but you guys are lucky with editing. Let's jump in, let's stick this thing underwater. All right, let's douse it with a bit of water, then fire it up. I guess figuratively, not literally. Getting there nice and good. Alrighty. Alright, not bad. Let's do some more testing. Alright, so if this doesn't soak it, then I don't know what will. And shout out to the dog too for letting me borrowing your water bowl. Alright, let's fire it up, see what happens. That's truly soaked. Well, it passed those tests, so let's actually put it to the test and see if it still flies around FPV and see how it goes. Okie dokie, so here we go, on board, and let's have a look at the battery first, because it was fully charged, and then you can see as soon as I take off it starts to drop down. So the battery that came with this thing definitely wasn't very good quality or whatsoever, but and a little bit of a saving grace or something to add in to take into account. The motors on this were definitely more punchy than I was expecting, so they were pulling more juice, but also giving me more thrust. So I wasn't quite expecting that much thrust, and you can see that's why I'm sort of bobbing up and down a lot more than what I'm probably used to, and on top of that, to contribute to that effect, there's not very much camera tilt. You can't adjust the camera, so that makes flying, if you're used to a sort of steeper camera tilt, which I am, it makes it flying a little bit harder, so adjusting sort of that altitude. Anyway, you can see, look, on the OSD, the rest of it, there's no timer or anything like that, which is, I'd actually probably just prefer a timer with the stock OSD. You've got those stupid bars on the side, which don't help whatsoever. I don't know why people turn them on. They don't help to fly. So yeah, I'd turn all that stuff off and just put your voltage in your timer. It felt pretty good in the turns and those sorts of things. A lot better than I was expecting. I think I have a little bump here in those, look, those prop guards, they would help sometimes, but they also broke just here. Yeah, so the guards themselves, look, I'm probably not a big fan. I don't think they're going to last too much. You're probably going to find they're going to snap quite easy. But yeah, in terms of flying it around, look, once I sort of started to get used to it, I was
pleasantly surprised with its flight characteristics. It flew a lot better than I thought it was going to. It ended up to be pretty smooth towards the end, and I especially like to sort of, this is the first time I've ever punched it over my house. I thought, oh, all right, I can give it a go. And the reception was pretty good as well, sort of better than I was expecting, even for the DVR. And we always know DVR shows a worse image, but yeah, this one was okay. And probably its biggest letdown, though, I just wish it was like carbon fiber and would hold up a little bit better, because I'm worried about it breaking. And no matter how good it flies, you know, it's not going to be worth it if you only get a few flights out of it, and an unlucky crash and then it's broken. So yeah, but it was cool to be able to punch it up and sort of have a look at that micro power, something that I'm probably not used to on a tiny little 2S battery. So definitely that part was pretty cool. And of course, on top of that, look, it was waterproof. Way more waterproof than I was expecting. And I hope all our drones sort of come out like that in the future. Because if you're living somewhere where it's snowy or rainy and you just want a bit of an FPV fix, even outdoors when it's actually raining, something like this is kind of nice. I think I tried to land it in the dog bucket right here, but not a successful landing. Almost.
Alrighty, so there it is. There's like the world's longest review. It felt like it took forever to finally get to this point, but it's finished with all the trials and tribulations. There's my review of the IdeaFly Octopus, and overall, what do I think about it? Well, would I recommend to buy this drone? And Trevor would say, as Trevor would politely say, it's probably not acceptable, Stuart. Or he'd use some other colourful language. But yeah, overall, I'm going to say give this one a miss. As a flyer, as a drone, I can't really recommend this one, but it does do some things right that really did surprise me. Like, it had way more punch than I was expecting when I hit that throttle. It really punched up into the air, but what really lets it down is the frame and sort of how it comes together. So the final finish, the quality is pretty shoddy. You can see this part's already breaking, and that was just from that one little crash sort of near the laundry. So look, overall, let's see if I can get this off. It's bugging me now, hang on. That's better. Yeah, so overall, look, the guards are rubbish, the frame's probably going to snap, but the components are poorly put together. But, you know, the fact that it was waterproof, and I didn't expect it to work quite as well as it would, you know, maybe a douse with some water, I thought, yeah, it might still hover. Then completely submerging it, being able to fly out of that was fine, and then being able to rip it around after that and get some FPV action, it really did do its job well in that regard. So in that regard, I'm very, very impressed, but overall, as a drone, would I recommend to buy it? No, not really, because it's just not up to quite to par to what we're expected to. Anyway, what do you guys think about the IdeaFly Octopus? You know, is it a cool concept? Is it something we want all our drones to be? Like, it would be pretty cool if I had some things like the SPC 100 and stuff like that. I'll leave a link up here to go watch that, because that's a really good drone. It'd be great if that was waterproof. Then you could really take that thing anywhere. But yeah, what do you guys think? Subscribe for more FPV related content, and as always, happy flying.
Alrighty, so hopefully you guys enjoyed that video. Definitely subscribe if you're new to the channel and check out these videos. And I'm also going to leave a little link here to my Patreon page, because I've got some fantastic Patreon supporters and I like to give back to them as well. So if you want to join the UAVfutures family, there's things like bonus Velcro straps, little bundles of FPV goodies and things like that that also get sent out. Anyway, happy flying.